Hey, you're watching Love of Film. Thanks so much for tuning in this week. Today's guest is Mr. Jesse Kove. If you're not familiar with Jesse, he's in lots of things. One of the things I first saw him in was Cobra Kai Season 3 and all the Crease flashbacks. He played the bully in those episodes called Captain David. And a little bit of Cobra Kai Karate Kid trivia. Jesse Kove, you might recognize his second name, is the son of Martin Kove, who plays John Kreese, Sensei John Kreese. So it's very cool to have Jesse on the show. He, of course, knows everything about the Karate Kid, but not just that, he's a good actor. He's in lots of things. So you should check out Jesse's stuff too. So without further ado, let's get into the interview.
What's up, dude?
Hello, Jesse. Great to meet you, man. Thanks for making the time.
Of course, I'm sorry I was doing the shoot today and it ran over. I apologize.
Don't worry, dude. Just happy to have you on the show. Thanks for taking the time again. It looks like you're in some kind of a forest. It looks like Skyrim
Let
or
me
something like
fix
that.
this. Back.
That's cool. That's cool.
You like that one?
Fantastic, man. Well, first of all, thanks so much for coming on. I mean, it's crazy when you're like, I recently watched season 3 of Cobra Kai, and you know when you're watching somebody in a TV show and you forget they're like a real person, they're an actor, they're doing their job, and then you're actually just talking to them in real life. It's just a bit of a meta experience. But Jesse, you're an actor, you're a good actor, and you've been in numerous things, not just Cobra Kai. Starting off, acting. Why was that what you wanted to do in life, and where did that journey sort of begin for you?
When I was, well, th also thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. Happy to be here with you. I have always loved watching movies growing up. It was always like an escape for me. Watching movies was like, my fantasy play world. And obviously, I think for most people. And ever since I was little, I always wanted to like perform in front of my family, and I was always pretending to be like a magician and doing magic tricks. So somehow I loved that art form, performing and entertaining, making other people feel good. And having grown up in the industry, I was able to go visit sets with my dad, and it was always like my favorite thing to do was go visit movie sets because it was like going to like Disneyland, and it was basically like going to some playland all the time. So I loved it, and I was always in doing plays growing up, and figuring out how to entertain people. And I was making movies when I was a little kid with like my dad's video camera. So I think that then morphed into doing stuff in high school and middle school, and after that I was always doing like my high school plays, and I love doing improv, and then it just morphed into a career.
Yeah, and dude, like it must have been a cool childhood too. I mean, with a dad like Martin Cove, legendary actor, the Karate Kid saga, it must have been crazy. I mean, from an outside perspective, like I didn't grow up knowing anybody in the industry. I can't really understand what that was like. And without getting too personal, what was it like growing up with that sort of image in your head of your dad, or did people like pick on you in school over that, or was it difference people would try to be your friend because your dad was this famous Hollywood actor?
I mean, I mostly experienced friendly kids growing up. I think there was always a funny aspect of like, oh, is your dad really nice in real life? Is he that the characters, because he plays a lot of villains. But my dad's a sweetheart, and I think there's definitely, if you grow up in Hollywood and you have famous parents like that, you always gotta kind of one eye open in the back of your head, just because you never know, people just kind of sometimes may want to use you or things like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, that never really happened, and but I've seen it happen. I have other friends that have had, that have, famous parents and things like that, and it's just a part of life. And I think the biggest thing is that people don't understand what it is to grow up in the entertainment industry, or if you have parents that were like, famous musicians and they're always on the road, like I understand that lifestyle, and it's it's not the normal, but it is fun. It is a lot of hard work at the same time. I think that's always the thing that people kind of have a hard time grasping. Is like, well, what is that like? What is it? It's weird. It's freaking weird.
Yeah.
But you make it work, and funny enough, I was watching the other day, my girlfriend and I, we just started rewatching The Osbournes. We're going back a little bit. The first reality
Yeah,
TV
yeah, yeah, yeah.
of like family. And we
Brilliant.
were watching. on tour, and how Ozzy would like bring his family with them on the bus. It's things like that. Like he may not have a 9 to 5 job, and there's nothing wrong with that. And just like you would go home and see your family at the end of the day, he's got his family with him while he's working. So, it's the same thing but different. And you just kind of have to figure out how to make it all work. That's kind of
Yeah.
the magic of it, being in the industry and things like that. I think people don't get, well, what is it like? It's a lot of maneuvering and making pieces fit here and trying to maintain a normal lifestyle amongst all the craziness.
Yeah, and I mean, growing up, your dad is just your dad, no matter who your dad is, you know. So I feel like maybe that's what people don't understand too. And I mean, growing up yourself, becoming an actor when you became a man, you know, getting into a show like Cobra Kai must have been, first of all, it was a brilliant show. I know at the time that was, I think you guys were still on YouTube Red when you joined Cobra Kai. Is that right? Yeah, I mean, still a
It
great
was
show.
when I was actually filming the show, we were already with Netflix, but it was the first season to debut on Netflix.
Okay, cool. It must have been crazy just to, first of all, get onto a cool show like that with you have big actors like Ralph Macchio, you have Billy Zabka, all the great younger cast too. But of course, your dad is playing the villain role in that thing, so it must have just been a crazy experience for yourself. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, stepping into Cobra Kai was, for me, it really felt like an honor at first, and I was so excited to join that universe because even though I'm so close to it, as a son to my dad, I also look at it from a fan point of view. So it was, for me, it was, I really wanted to do the character justice, and I wanted to, impress the people that I wanted to impress, and also for myself. And you know and I had to audition for that role like everybody else.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to, kick ass in that role. But it felt very surreal. It really did. Kind of like Back to the Future or something, or,
Yeah, like with the
because,
diner and stuff like that, with the varsity
yeah,
jacket. And,
and you just kind of are there, like you're sitting on set and you're looking at all this stuff and you're kind of thinking to yourself, God, this is real life right now. This
yeah,
is really happening. And you're just kind of constantly trying to reassure yourself that this is real. When you have these moments that come up in life, and it's like when you meet like you're like an idol of yours or something, like if you just happen to meet Luke Skywalker on the street, Mark
dude.
Hamill, you'd be like, that really just happened. It's that feeling, when you're doing this work and these things all come together so beautifully. That's how it felt when we were filming it. And Barrett Carnahan, who plays young Kreese, he and I would be psyching each other up all the time. We're like, dude, this is really happening. We're doing this. It's so much fun. And I think that's what makes it so great, is we're just kind of so excited about being there and being in the story, and being there with everybody else. And we're like, we're doing this. We're a part of this journey. It's like joining like the Avengers or something. So it was just, I was so grateful and so humbled by the whole experience. And it's just it's been such a gift. And I'm just so blessed that I was able to be a part of that. And I thank my dad for kind of carving that path for himself and allowing, them to build upon his character and
Yeah.
the Karate Kid universe and all that. And so, he was part of the cog in that wheel as well.
You killed him, man. You really did. I mean, you in a villain role too was really, really good. I could see you in like another villain role, like Terminator or something like that. You have that type of build where you could just sort of play the villain. So you did a great job, and David's character too. Although in a couple of episodes, you could really understand that he was a very, very conflicted guy. He was jealous over his girlfriend, like in Young Crease and stuff like that. So, oh, it was great, man. And I'd say it must have been a competitive audition process too. And speaking of auditions, you know, your industry, I don't have to tell you, is crazy. It's so competitive. It's filled with rejection. It's sometimes great and then sometimes terrible. What's your thoughts on auditions? Do you love them, hate them? Is there a big prep process you
It's
do?
both. It's both. I think what I don't like is the inconvenience of sometimes when they come in where you are. You could be traveling, you could be anywhere, you could be on an airplane, and it comes in. You're like, oh, I got to figure out how to set myself up to get this audition right. And the whole process. It's not an easy process. There's so much at stake when you're doing it, and you have your you want to get the part, and then you're thinking about the character and the script and everything. But again, it is an opportunity. I'm so grateful that I get to have those opportunities to be able to present myself to casting directors and to, other producers, studios, and all that, and give my take on something. And but it is, you do think about it. It's a competitive arena. You're in the arena with other people. um, there's always someone better than you. You just have to come to terms with that. There just is always someone better than you. Someone bigger, smaller, more handsome, whatever it is. Better skin, better acting, whatever you want to call it. And that's okay because that's what keeps you on the edge of your seat. You want to work hard.
Yeah.
And then there's also part of it where you have to like let it go. You do your part, you audition, and then you move on to the next thing. Because if you take it too personally, it'll eat you up, spit you back out. It's tough that way. So you just have to, you know, get in there, play the game, work hard, and then at the end of it, just take a breath and move on, go to the next one. And I find that sometimes when I, you know, not care the least, but when I really allow myself to just step away from it and like I did my job, I did what I wanted to do, I worked my ass off. Now I'm gonna go grab a burger or something.
Yeah.
It's like something like that, or go work out or whatever it is. But it's just the fact that you can take your mind off of that and move on. You've it's I always talk about it's like when does a true artist have his last brushstroke on a painting? So you've done it,
Mm.
you painted something, and then you can look at it and you can walk away. And if you get it, great. If not, it's okay. You got to be seen. You presented yourself to other people, and uh, it's it is definitely a process.
Yeah, and man, like it's not the end of the world too. Like I can tell, like it's a job like anything else. If you don't get one thing, it's meant to be, you know. And
Yeah.
I mean, from talking to people I know who are actors, they're always talking about they get so much, not even performance anxiety, but it's when they really, really wanted role, when they really want a job, they psych themselves out, and then they end up not giving what they can actually give too. Did you ever feel that yourself? Do you think that's a true statement?
It, it's great you said that. It comes from wanting to do well. It's about because it's also a very personal thing in the sense of it's your work, it's your own signature on something, and you want to do the best that you can do. And I think that comes with putting a lot of pressure on ourselves as performers. And sometimes that pressure is immense depending on what the role is, because sometimes you get a role and it'll change your life. So the stakes are very high, and that's we have to find the balance, between caring and not caring, and just focus on the work. If you just focus on the work and not about the work is going to bring you or what's going to happen after this. I mean, I remember when I auditioned for Captain America. I've
Oh, you
talked about this.
did the first
Yeah,
Avenger.
when they
Wow.
were first casting for and I just remember thinking to myself, my God, if I got this would just be the greatest thing ever. But again, like all that pressure you put on yourself. I remember I auditioned for it, and the scene that they read was the one where he's like the very small version of himself
Yeah.
in the doctor's office. And I remember we read that, and they shredded the sides in the room. They didn't want anybody to have them. But it's like stuff like that, but if you just focus on the work and what the character is and the story, what's the purpose of the scene, all that, and you take all that other stuff and you get rid of it, you most likely have a better chance of booking, not putting all that pressure on you. You're just
Yeah.
focusing on the work, and what's needed. And then there's also a lot of fun in that too. It's really fun to work with your friends and audition. I have a buddy that I read with all the time. We work out the scenes together. Sometimes it takes a couple hours, and we just get into the work and we work the scenes, and we tinker, and we try and adjust certain things, and it becomes a really fun process when you do it that way. And sometimes you get upset because you didn't hit it the right way or whatever, but again, that's just part of the process of working it out, and it's really fun. At the end of the day, I love what I do. I've always said for years, whenever I show up on set, it never feels like true work to me because I love what I'm doing. So if you love what you do, it's not really work. Yes, it is hard work in what we're doing and working 12-hour days and fighting and doing, like this scene here that we rehearsed this fight sequence for like 4 days. One of the many fights I did. This was from a project I did called Forsaken Mercenary.
Yeah.
That was hard work, but it was fun. We had a blast doing it, and I had a blast in this moment. Um,
Yeah, you can tell from your expression, just the energy. It's like it's really happening, you know?
Yes, yes. And I love it. I love choreography. I love doing stunts. I try to do my own stunts as much as possible. It's a personal endeavor for me. I'm very proud when I don't have to use the stunt guy. Sometimes, there are certain things that come up where, if I need to jump off a building, I don't think I'm there yet. I want to, but we'll see. Tom Cruise's level, if I could hang from a helicopter, yeah, I would totally do it.
Well, that's badass, man. That's badass. I mean, auditions have changed a lot too, you know. Well, while you were on the subject, I mean, back even when you were doing, say, something like Captain America, was that an in-person thing? Because I know nowadays, like, I mean, I interned in a casting agency about 2 years ago, and I was surprised that when I was there, all of the auditions were all over Zoom, you know? Obviously, we're over Zoom today. I'd love to do this in person, but it's like, I assume as an actor, do you lose some of the advantage? Because I feel like if you go into a room, you probably give off a good energy that could get you a part. Do you agree?
Auditioning in person versus auditioning in home, there's such a difference. I mean, there is an unspoken energy that into the room when you walk into a room, and you can't feel that over a Zoom call. And I do appreciate being able to do auditions at home because you can retape it and you can tinker with it and change and adjust, which you can do 100 different takes if you want. And that's really fun. I actually really enjoy that process of it. But there's also this amazing feeling you get when you go into the room. The stakes are high. You're meeting the casting director. Maybe you have the producers or director in the room, and they can really see and feel you, and they can adjust you in the moment. And to me, like that is the true test, to be there, to let these people see who you are in person. You can have some jokes with them and have a conversation with them. And you really feel who this person is. You don't get that over Zoom. And I know it's easier and all that, but I do miss the days where we're driving all over town to not driving all over town, but I do miss seeing people in person and doing those auditions. And you also never know when you do these auditions in person, usually the ones that you hated the most are the ones that you book, which is the weirdest thing. And I think that's because when you do really well, you're kind of lost in the scene. And then when you're done, you kind of come out of it and you're like, oh my God, I don't even remember what I was doing. That was probably terrible. And then they usually get a call and they're like, oh, that was incredible. You did a great job.
What the hell? Yeah, again, it's kind of like that don't psych yourself out mentality, isn't it? If you are enjoying this show, why not leave a review on Apple Podcasts? Believe it or not, really helps out the show. If you want to help out the show further, we also have a Patreon. And if you subscribe to our Patreon, a little goes a long way. We have exclusive content there that can help you in becoming a filmmaker. I mean, speaking about the behind the scenes too, I mean, would you like to go on the flip side of being an actor, like being maybe on more on the producing side, the directing side in your future?
I love producing and I love directing. There's a movie that I produced that I'm very proud of that I did several years ago called As Night Comes, directed by Richard Zelniker. Check it out if you can.
Well, what was it called? I'll write that down.
As Night Comes.
As Night
Very,
Comes.
yeah, very good movie that we made. Very proud of that. And I think we're actually going to be re-releasing it on digital pretty soon. Really good movie. But it's a teen crime drama, and it's actually gotten better over time. So you'll really like it. And it's kind of like Clockwork Orange
Oh,
meets The
cool.
Outsiders. Yeah, it's
Well,
really
that's a good
great.
mix. Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. We got great actors in there, really, really great. And funny enough, a lot of those actors are more famous now than they were when we made the movie. So it's cool that we're going to bring the movie back. But yeah, I love being behind the camera. I love the whole process of filmmaking. I love storytelling. I love communicating with actors. I love hearing their ideas. I love the collaboration of filmmaking. It's such an incredible relationship that you have with everyone on a set. And being a director is also great because you get to share that with the actors and tell these great stories. So I really enjoy directing and I really enjoy being behind the camera. And actors also, I'm not talking about myself, just an experience. Actors make great directors because they know how to talk to actors. They understand what it's like to be an actor. So, Baba, hey. My dog is scratching his collar.
I have a dog
Hey,
somewhere
no,
too.
hi. My
My dog
three-legged.
always interrupts too, but he's being good right now.
Um, yeah, so actors make great directors because they know how to talk to actors. They understand what it's like to be in the actor's shoes. So you're able to get really good communication. And so, like George Clooney is a great director. Ben Affleck is a
Yeah.
great director. There's so many.
Ben
Um,
Stiller, even with Severance, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's just so many, so many. And it's just it's a great process, and I love being behind the scenes, behind the camera, just storytelling in general, entertainment, making movies, cinema. It's just such an amazing journey and process when you're in there doing it.
That's awesome, man. It's really, really cool. I mean, and being in so many different shoes, you know, being in, say, acting role, directing role, producing role, all these different credits, things you're in, is there a piece of advice that really stands out to you that you got over like a mentor or fellow actor or anyone?
Yeah, always. I mean, one of my favorite quotes that I remember from Henry Ford, he said, failure is the opportunity to begin again more intelligently. And that always stuck with me. And I saw that quote on a building in New York City when I was out there doing off Broadway. And I've always thought about that. It's always stuck with me. And that's the same thing in the movie business. You fail, you fail, you fail, you fail. And that's just part of the process of being successful in this business is failing. So if you can come to terms with failing and understanding that that's part of the process, it's going to be so much better for you, and your success will be that much more. And it's okay. You learn from your failures. You try. You're going to do movies that aren't great. You're going to do parts that you didn't think were as good as other ones, and that's okay. It's a there's no formula for any of this stuff, and we're still figuring it out. Um, and it's all part of art. It's an art form. So there's never, like I said, there's never that final brushstroke. And I think as long as you have a dream, you can attain it. Anything is possible in this business. Anything is possible in this world, and you can have it all if you just continue to put in the work and you work hard and you have a relationship with failure. And most people like have so many different businesses that fail before they get the one that worked. Like if you look at like Elon Musk, well, whatever, whether people love him or hate him, the man is a very successful man, and he had a lot of failures and went broke and richest man in the world. And he worked hard to be broke and he worked hard to be rich. So again, it's just coming to terms with not giving up and knowing that it's all possible.
That's true, man. It really is. I mean, I remember when Cobra Kai season 3 came out, me and my brothers were obsessed with the show, man. It's to an embarrassing degree. We all have a Cobra Kai gi. It's not even a real gi. We got them on Amazon. There's a fake fist on the front, but we always wear them when a new season came out. I remember when your character showed up and then there was a young Kreese character, and we're all theorizing. It's like, I was like, oh, who's this guy? Who's this guy? If I went back in time, even a couple of years ago when that happened, I was about, say, 2021 when that season came out and said, "Oh well, you're gonna talk to that guy one day and you're gonna interview him, talking about the show that you're watching right now." It really does adhere to that statement. You know, anything is possible. So thanks for making that possible, man.
Oh,
And
my pleasure. I'll show you something I have here that where is it? Uh, this cool piece. Oh, damn, where is it? I was just reorganizing my office and I found, hold on. I put it right there. I'll show you something pretty cool.
let's see it.
So this was the actual script for the audition for
Whoa,
for for Varsity Captain David from the actual when I went in the room. This was the sides. They're a little different than what was actually filmed, but this is them. These are the ones.
Jesse, that is so cool, man. That you still have that,
Yeah, yeah, it says right there, Varsity Captain David.
dude.
I found this one next to it, which is really cool as well. This was my dad's. This is Crease's script. It says Crease right on the front.
Whoa,
This was my dad's script for episode 302, which is the episode that I was in, Nature
man.
versus Cancer. This was the pink sheets you call them, the changes that they made. And this was his that he used that week when he filmed that episode. This is what was sent to everybody, which is pretty
Man,
cool.
I'm speechless. The way it even says crease across the whole thing, it's so cool. Wow. They're called pink sheets, aren't they?
So when they change the scripts, they'll when they make adjustments,
Yeah,
like so
yeah, yeah.
when you first it'll be white, and then they'll make adjustments to the script, and you'll get the blue version, and then they'll change more stuff, and you'll get the pink version, and then they'll the yellow, and then all of a sudden your script is like rainbow colored.
Thanks so much for showing that to me, Jesse. That's just wow, so cool. I've never
Never
actually
brought
even
that out.
seen
I've
a
never
script.
brought that out before, so
That's awesome, man. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
yeah.
I saw a reel you were in, man, where you did a killer impression of Optimus Prime. Can I get that
Oh
impression?
yeah.
Can we get it?
I I loved I ever since hearing his voice for the first time, I've always loved doing Optimus Prime. He just has such a like this amazing stoic voice, and he just the way he talks, it's like he talks like down here, and he's like, "My name is Optimus Prime, and I come from you from outer space. We are here, and we are waiting."
Man, that's badass. Brilliant.
One other thing I wanted to tell you is that I, as Optimus Prime, love Cobra Kai.
Oh, I never thought I'd hear Optimus saying that, man. That's so cool. Optimus Prime. You could voice him, man. They're doing so many animated things. I'm sure who
I
voices
know,
Optimus?
but
Is it Peter Culling? Is that who?
Peter
I think
Cullen,
that's
yeah, Peter.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure he can't do everything. You could do Optimus, man. Now, speaking, if
Hey,
you
if they
could
do
do
a younger
something, no, go ahead.
if they do a younger version of Optimus, I'll jump at the bit. I'll be the first one in line. I'd love to.
Man, we should make a petition. We should. And speaking of
Yes.
remaking anything, if you could remake any classic film where you were the main character in this classic film, what would you choose?
Oh man, in the Karate Kid Cobra Kai universe?
Not even that. Say movies in general. Is there like a movie you were like, damn, I wish I could have tried acting as that character in that role?
Captain America would have been really cool. Opportunity still could be there.
Yeah.
Um, but oh man, there's so if I Lord of the Rings would have been one of the coolest things ever. I'm such a huge nerd
Yeah.
of like Star Wars, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, all that stuff,
Me too.
80s pop culture. I mean, that would be I've got like you can't see it in here, but I've got so much memorabilia in my office here of like
Me too. I don't know if you can see this, but if you turn and see my shelves, we got like
oh, there
Vader
we
over
go.
here. We got some Cobra Kai up there. Let's just see. Yeah. We got lots of the exact same. It's just like the best few decades for movies, you know?
Totally. It's important, man. All that stuff is so important. And yeah, if I could be in like a Lord of the Rings, you know,
Who would you play in Lord of the Rings?
oh, that would be amazing. I mean, I'd love to play like Aragorn would be an amazing role to play.
Man,
Anything,
I was about to say, I was like, that's who you need to be playing, man. Like, you just get
even
a
if I
wig
was a
on. You could grow your hair or something.
do an elf warrior, if I could do a Legolas, that would be cool too.
Man, I'd play anyone in Lord of the Rings. I'd play like
Anything.
any character, soldier, whatever.
I'd
Now,
even play a dwarf. I would love to. It'd be my pleasure to take a stick at that. It would be amazing.
yeah, man, and I want to be respectful of your time too, Jesse. Just another question I want to ask you. I was a big fan of your podcast you did with your twin sister Rachel and your dad kicking it with the Coves. Are we going to see any more of that? Because that was a great thing. I know you had Sean Kanan on that. You had like Julia Macchio, lots of other guests.
Unfortunately, that show won't come back. We really had a great time doing that show. It was so much fun. It just with the time constraints of doing the show and everybody's
Yeah,
schedule, it was difficult. I know that there is a Cobra Kai a recap show that they have. Two of the other actors on the show started it. I forget the name of it, but I know they have that. But there's something else that we've got in the works with my dad and I that's going to be really really cool, which I'm excited to talk about when we're allowed to. That's going to
yeah.
be really awesome. It'll definitely be my dad and I, around movies and stuff like that. So that's going to be a fun one. But yeah, we had a great time doing that show. I'm glad you liked it.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, and you and your dad too, and Rachel too. It's such a good combination. I mean, I even heard somebody online say that I saw this viral video of your dad doing a dance in the Cobra Kai rap party, and I heard a rumor that you initiated this dance. Is this true?
Yes, my sister was the first one on the dance floor. And I always say this, the Coves were always the first one on the dance floor. So when we were at the after party, my sister literally took her shoes off and she was there. She got that dance floor going. And then I know then Jacob and Sholo started dancing, and then Peyton jumped in, and I saw my dad, and I was like, Dad, get in there right now. Go. And my dad loves to dance. I was like, go show him your moves. Go, put crease away and go show him those Marty Cove moves. And that was that video that you saw in there. That was one of my videos, and also a friend of ours, Balin Levine, took a great video that went viral. And it was such an amazing night.
So, Jesse, I want to be respectful of your time, as I said, and I appreciate you coming on. What we usually do on our show is we want to get sort of advice from people like you who've been in the industry for people who want to just even try be an actor, try be a producer, try be a director, or even try work in the industry. I know it's a very general question, but do you have any initial advice for somebody who wants to do what you do?
My best advice for anyone that wants to get in the industry is just start, meaning get into an acting class and start reading books and learn about the craft of acting, filmmaking, and just start going to make movies. Go make little shorts with your friends, Instagram reels, whatever you want to do. Throw it up on YouTube, or on your stories on Instagram, posts, whatever. And just get in that process. Like if you go into an acting class, you'll start talking to other actors that either have agents or not or whatever. You'll start learning from them, and then how the business works. And then if you get good enough there, you can get an agent, and you can then keep branching out. It's just constantly learning about the business and how to get into it, and surround yourself with people who are in that industry, people who are positive, that will boost you up and support you. And that's such an important part of it. But people can talk all they want, but if you don't start, if you don't put one foot forward and actually get into those rooms or get into a class, you're never going to be around that environment. So I think as long as you do that for yourself, you're really going to much, and it's invaluable. People are, and the other thing is like, people want instant gratification. They want to be on a TV show or be a movie star. Like it is such a small percentage of people that happens to overnight. It does happen, just like anything. Anyone can hit some people can win the lottery, but it is a marathon. It's not a race. It takes time. And I look at myself as an actor 10 years ago than where I am now, and it's so different. And I'm so glad that I am doing what I'm doing now versus what I was doing then, because I have more patience. I've really um, I've been very selective with my craft, and how I operate, and work in the film industry, and how I operate on camera. And I've learned so much, and I'm continuing to learn, every day. So I think that's what's important too. And if people are asking about how to get yourself on film, well, videotape yourself, have friends, do scenes with your friends. You can literally go online, download a script. Also, reading scripts. It's so important to read a script and know how a script reads, and what are the different words in a script, abbreviations, what they are. And do a scene from a script with your friend and film it. See yourself playing those roles that you want to play. You want to be a Marvel superhero? Go online, print out the pages from a scene that you want to do from Avengers, and do that scene with your friends, and know what that feels like, and feel it. And then you're like, oh, I kind of want to do it this way. Well, then you're doing it. That's it. Like, that's acting. And you're playing these characters. And then put it out in the world and get yourself noticed and seen, and then get yourself auditions. And you can reach out to an agent, manager, whatever, and then they'll pitch you on stuff, and then all of a sudden you're in the movies you wanted to be in.
Well said, Jesse.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah, man, exactly. That's it. Well said, man. And as I said, having you on the show is a real treat for me. And I mean, the brothers are going to get a real kick out of this, that I was talking to you today. For the fans watching, they can find you, I assume. You're always at cons and stuff like that. You're big with the fans. You're big with the presence, with the fandom. Where can people find you?
Uh, Jesse Cove, at Jesse Cove, across all my social media platforms. JESSEKOVE everywhere. And I got a lot of great stuff coming up. We got a really fun action movie I just finished called President Down. Also a movie called Whole Shot, and then a Western I did called The Gunfighter's Deal. Very excited about the three of these. And also Forsaken Mercenary, which is a great one, based on a great book written by Jonathan Yanez series. So there's a lot of cool stuff, lot cooking. And yes, I will be at more cons. Speaking of, where are you based again?
Dublin, Ireland.
Oh, okay. Well, I might be there over the summer, so we'll see.
Dude, I'll definitely get a photo up. I got to meet you in person, man. That'd be cool.
All right, dude. You got it, brother. Thank you so much.
Badass. Thanks for coming on. I'll check out that movie as night comes. It sounds really good too. So thanks so much, Jesse. Appreciate it, man.
Oh, you'll love As Night Comes, dude. You really will.
Thanks, man. Right. So what's your obscure movie fact? Did you know in the first Scream movie they got in trouble for using the mask?
Okay.
Yeah, the Ghostface mask. Apparently, some company owned it, Fun World. So the original mask was made from the painting, you know, the Scream guy, the famous one you always see everywhere.
Yeah.
So a company called Fun World, they made a Halloween costume, which was the Scream or the Ghostface mask, you know. So when Wes Craven was making Scream, the first movie in the 90s, he was like, oh, this is a great mask to use. Yeah, we're going to use this and it's going to be our bad guy. But they didn't know when they made this mask that it was actually copyrighted by that company. So they almost had to scrap the whole opening of the movie. And I don't know the last time you've seen Scream, but the opening is possibly the best, you know, scene in the movie.
It's one of the most iconic ones.
Yeah, man, with Drew Barrymore, you know, and could you imagine that being refilmed with a different mask? I couldn't. It'd be garbage. So, long story short, they had a bit of a legal scrap, but they solved it.